Hello, I'm Trey, and this is a follow-on from the video I posted up on the Stepping Stone 2 blog and Facebook page and YouTube channel about colour pencils. The first video I posted up was about what kind of pencils you can get, but today I'm going to touch on pressure when using your pencils, and also a technique called gradients, which is kind of a nice technique when you're doing your colouring art. So I hope you enjoy the demonstration and find it useful. I'm going to do a demonstration on how you do gradients, like I've done here, and also an example of pressure when using pencils. To make this gradient, you need three colours: a dark shade, a medium shade, and because I didn't have a very light brown, I went for dark yellow when it came to the shading for these gradients. The first I will show you is the example of medium, light and heavy pressure. Light pressure is when you just lightly skim the pencil over the paper. You'll see lots of white still showing through, and that's light pressure. You're barely touching the paper. This, if you do lots of light layers, this will enable you to put more layering on. So light pressure, more layers. Medium pressure, slightly darker. You can still see plenty of the paper underneath, but it's a heavier pressure. You'll get less layers with this, but more than if you had really heavy pressure. Well, heavy pressure really pushes the pigment into the paper, and paper has what they call tooth. Some paper is very smooth, you don't feel it very much, and other paper is, you feel like a texture. This paper is like a slightly toothy. So I have done heavy pressure. Now I do use heavy pressure in colouring, but not very often. You will not get a lot of more layers on that, because what happens is the pencil just slides off, because the paper will only take so much. And in fact, I can feel that already. I'm struggling with that. So when you're doing layers, it's always better to use light pressure. Medium pressure just for finishing off, but mostly light pressure. It's better with your pencils. You don't use the lead up as quickly, and also you don't hurt your hands as much, because the heavier pressure, the tighter you hold the pencil, the harder you're pushing down. You also may break your core when you do heavier pressure at times as well. I've noticed that. So that's one thing, one example of doing light, medium and heavy pressure. Now I'll show you how I achieve this. Now for doing gradient effect, I always start with the darkest colour I'm working with. Well, that's just for gradient. So I will have, with light pressure, using this light pressure, put down my darkest colour first. Plenty of paper, you can see through that, that's fine because you build that up. Then I go to the medium colour, the medium brown, and you want to overlap here. So from the darkest you overlap, say a quarter over the darkest part with your medium. Again, light pressure. And you can see there the overlap. Colour pencils reflect the colours underneath. So this medium pencil has gone darker at that section there, because the darker colour darkens the medium pencil. Very good technique for when you're doing your shading. Now I'm going to take my dark yellow to complete my gradient effect, and I'm going to overlap again this section here. Light pressure, and you overlap that part there. And again you'll see that the medium brown has made this part of the yellow darker than the actual colour. So build up on these colours, go over the dark again, make sure you overlap your medium brown. And you can see how that kind of like blends away. You can hardly see the seam now. Go to the medium brown, light pressure, and with the medium brown, because it's a middle one, you're overlapping your darker colour and you're also overlapping your lighter colour. And then you go to your lighter colour again and you overlap the medium brown. Now I've only done 2 layers there, just to give you an example of how to do that. With the one higher up, there's about 4 layers on there, and it gets much deeper, and the blending works much better, and the gradient is more interesting and works smoother. But that's just an example of how you do a gradient effect in colouring. I hope you found the demonstration easy to follow, and I will be putting up more video about different things you can do with pencils. But I'm also going to be putting up videos about some of the other arts and crafts that I do. And it's kind of handy this time of year because we're getting into winter and the dark nights and the shorter days. And when you're dealing with anxiety and depression and the effects of trauma, it can be a difficult time of year. So I hope that these videos I'll be posting up will help people get into other things that can help manage their different conditions. Please do post any comments up on the blog or on the Facebook page. I will put a link to the Facebook page on the blog posting. And if you're watching on YouTube, I will put a link to the Facebook page in the description. So it'd be interesting to see what your thoughts are and any ideas and any questions, and I'll do my best to answer those.